Hi, I'm Lee Fogel, and I am the author of A Matter of Life and Breath, which is my seven-step guide to how I recovered from near death with pulmonary fibrosis. As a pulmonary fibrosis patient over the last 5 years, I've worked with many medical professionals, exploring current and new healing modalities for myself. And in this podcast and my YouTube channel, I like to bring to you new and relevant information to some of the best folks that I've come across with methods to help folks with lung disease. And today I'm very pleased to host a person who I have worked with personally. And so I can personally attest to the power of his program that he has. And his name is David Junga. David is an experienced respiratory professional, and he's the CEO of his own company, Junga Health. And that just a note about that I believe in firmly is the Junga method, which is his own personally designed comprehensive approach designed to help you breathe better, get stronger, and live longer by having improved posture and less pain. I have experienced that in my work with David and his methods. His methods for remote pulmonary rehab and pulmonary fitness training were a significant turning point in my own health and active recovery to the next level. Now, we'll give you a couple of disclaimers at the beginning. What David and I are going to talk about here today is specifically for educational information purposes. I am not a healthcare professional. I'm not a doctor. I'm a patient, like many of you folks out there. And I don't. Nothing we say today is medical advice. It's for information and educational purposes only. I'll also say that I have no commercial interest in anything that ever gets represented on any of my podcasts. I don't have a relationship with David's company to get a kickback or something like that. I'm a retired person who I'm able to live without having to fund myself through those kind of activities. So nothing I mention on these podcasts will be commercially related to me in any way whatsoever. So with that disclaimer, I'm just happy to welcome you, David, to our podcast. And maybe you could start, David, by just telling us a little bit about yourself. Give us some of your credentials, because I know they're long, and I know you've got more experience and knowledge than anybody I've come across in this business so far. So take it away, David.
Thank you so much, Lee, for that wonderful introduction, the disclaimer, and the opportunity to be on here so we can help people. And the biggest thing is we want to just give people hope and using your inspiration of what you do and how you apply it in your life and all that. But yes, we're going to talk about that, and I'm really excited. But my credentials, I am a board certified respiratory therapist, and I'm also a certified posture therapist. I have been a respiratory therapist for over 25 years now. And I've been a posture therapist for, I believe, 15 years now. And it's fascinating that I was in pulmonary rehab. First, I was working as a respiratory therapist in hospitals, and then I wanted to do more because I kept seeing the same patients coming in, like a revolving door into the emergency room, and they were just getting their symptoms checked and treated, but no one was getting to the cause. And I really firmly believe that the underlying cause for most issues for pulmonary patients of their pulmonary related shortness of breath is lack of activity and strength. And so that is a big key. So we can address the symptoms, and it's not going to change any pulmonary conditions, but what it's going to do is improve their quality of life tremendously, both mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so that's how I got into doing pulmonary rehab. And then I was playing tennis after quite a few years of being in private practice. I was playing tennis. I blew a disc in my back, and I tried every treatment possible and nothing worked. And someone recommended posture therapy, and I tried it, and it saved my life. And I liked it so much I started doing it. And then all of a sudden, and initially it was kind of funny because initially I said, wow, this is great, because so many exercises we try to do with patients, they would say, well, I can't do that. My shoulder hurts, my hip hurts, my back hurts. And then I started incorporating this. Whoa, you don't have that as an excuse anymore. You can go home and exercise now. This is great. And so we started doing that. And then all of a sudden, we started noticing a huge change as we were fixing their posture, how their breathing really started to improve. as well as their diaphragmatic excursion and movement started to improve. So I started really getting deep into that and finding, and we'll talk about this in a little while, just the correlation between physiologically what happens with the improvement in your posture and how that improves your breathing. And then the rest was, then finally this past year, we merged both Pulmonary Rehab Associates LLC and CT Pain Free and merged them under one umbrella, Junga Health. And now we do it all, and we've combined everything. So all the posture people get the breathing, all the pulmonary people get the posture, and it's a win-win for everybody.
That's terrific. And as you talk about it, I remember those days early on when you wanted to focus on posture. And I was thinking, oh, let's just get to the work. Let's do the exercise. And you're like, no, no. And, and now your words come to my mind. I'll be doing an exercise in the gym. I'll look down and I'll say, square up your feet, Lee, because you taught me how to square up my feet. And nobody ever in all my years of weightlifting and athletic movements and things like that has really taught me the way to square up your feet. People do all kinds of cockeyed things that throw the whole body out of alignment. So your posture therapy was terrific for me. And also, I also remember this one, shoulders down and back, Lee. Relax your shoulders down and back, And I've told so many people, you're having a coughing attack, look at that first. I bet you're hunched over, collapsing your chest, collapsing your bronchial airways, and so your posture therapy was a game changer for me. I'm telling you, that is terrific stuff. So I had a question I was going to ask you about what the heck is posture therapy. But I think that maybe you could give us a little more about, your approach to posture and body alignment prior to exercise, and how do we fix the dysfunction in the body from that?
Sure. Posture therapy in its simplest form is basically, if you understand the premise that muscles tell bones where to go, you re-educate the muscles to be in the proper position, and then the bones and basically your load-bearing joints, the ankles, the knees, the hips, and the shoulders get back into position. So if anything is out of position, if you have an elevated shoulder or an elevated hip, you do exercises that gets it back. And as soon as everything becomes 90-degree angle, so the spinal column is the center and everything is off of that, left to right and also front to back, as soon as you realign the posture doing corrective posture exercises, the pain goes away, the ability to move is so much improved, your breathing is improved, and the risk of injury goes down tremendously.
So true. So true. The alignment thing is key for preventing injury. And that's why every time I'm doing squats at the gym or doing leg presses or anything, I look down at my feet and I hear David say, square up your feet, Lee. So talk about improving posture helps breathing, because I know there was a breakthrough moment. You remember it with me, and one specific exercise you did or helped me to do that really helped me with my breathing and preventing coughing. But talk about how posture helps with the breathing, especially with folks who have lung disease.
Absolutely. The issue is the diaphragms are the main muscles used for breathing. So in order to get them, the left and right hemidiaphragms, in order to get them moving, you need really good nerve flow to be able to get them to work properly. And what ends up happening is poor posture. The phrenic nerve runs right along your neck, through the shoulder girdle, and down into here. So whenever there's rounded shoulders, whenever there's a forward neck, whenever there's some rounding of the upper back, some kyphosis, anything like that is restricting the nerve flow going down to the diaphragms. And when you're going like this, you're compressing the chest wall. Makes it so much harder to get the air in. So when you simply drop the shoulders, pinch the shoulders back, and have a level chin, because so many people, they have their chin down and their windpipe is right here, the trachea is here. So they're going down like this and they're cutting off the airflow to their lungs, in and out. So we want to have, and I tell everybody, 3 rules of breathing: relax shoulders, a level chin, and try to pull the shoulders back a little bit, slightly pinched. And then just relax. And you'll notice as soon as you do this, you open up the chest wall, You relax the shoulders down, slightly back, because so many people are up like this and you see them. I'll be on Zoom calls, I'll be in a meeting, and I'll see everybody. I'll say, hey, time out, everybody, relax your shoulders. And you bring it down. The other wonderful thing about this, as soon as you relax the shoulders and you pinch them back just a little bit, it sends a signal to the brain. Everything is fine. Everything starts to calm down, because this is a defense mechanism of gearing up. I might have to walk. I might have to do something that's going to make me short of breath. And then you calm everything down, and then you just relax. So the posture is critical. So like you said, you're going to do an exercise. This feet being square is also so important, because if your feet are not square and your legs turn out, then what ends up happening is the hips tilt down. And as soon as you do this, the chest wall comes forward. So now, to not all the way go forward, you're pulling back, trying to compensate. It's a huge strain on the low back, the lumbar spine, and it juts the neck forward. And that can really impair the diaphragms. So we don't want that. So
I bet it's terrifying for you to walk out into a public place and see the number of people hunched over with their shoulders up, typing on a phone, and their neck bent. And I mean, those are, I mean, we have generations of folks who are living lives like that, 7, 8 hours of screen time a day. And it's just, it's horrifying what the future may hold for the postural problems people are going to have. You know,
yeah.
it's like, I'd love to see more stuff from you coming out on that, how to prevent tech neck or whatever we call it. I don't know if we call it that, but I just made that up.
Tech neck, yes.
Tech neck,
Yeah.
okay.
That's the other thing. And too, and I remember, that's why I wish they would get all these kids onto maybe tablets or something, because I watch these little kids, elementary school, middle school, with these backpacks, like, like your rucksack there, and
Right.
they're tiny little, and so they have to, it's so heavy that it's pulling them back. So they're compensating, and they're constantly walking like that. And then
Right.
they're on their phone. So their posture is just ingrained to be rounded. So we have to open up everything.
It'd be something that would be great to be taught in schools as we look at helping kids be more healthy. We look at nutrition and things like that. School lunches, the amount of times kids spend sitting rather than standing, what can be done about that to introduce that into the learning curriculum of proper use of technology, not to cause yourself postural problems and musculoskeletal problems. Anyway, that's a side item. But can you so are there any common misconceptions people have about pulmonary rehabilitation or pulmonary fitness? I'm kind of more pulmonary fitness because I'm kind of rehab, but life's an ongoing rehab for me. But anyway, so do you come across common misconceptions people have?
Yes, a lot of people think that you need all this fancy equipment to be able to get stronger. And I tell people, all you need is a chair with no arms, a rolled up towel, and a couple of dumbbells or cans of soup or water bottles. And I promise you, you will feel it for many days afterward. Yeah. You will get stronger than you have ever gotten before. And then when we get that going, then we get them up against a wall. And when you see what happens posturally when you're flat up against the wall, oh my gosh, it's amazing. It has a huge impact on that. And then also the floor. Because I remember when you and I did some floor exercises, it was really interesting to open up stuff that has really been tight.
Right. Yeah. I did a lot of my exercises from inside of my gym where I was a member, and I'd set it up in the big glass room with all the mirrors, and it'd always be a bunch of people watching me, wondering what was I doing with these different configurations up against the wall, like a chalk outline of a person who'd been murdered on a wall or something. It was interesting, but those things were so effective. I remember you taught me how to really breathe in the sides of my lungs, use those, the intercostal rib muscles and flexibility of those to get more oxygen air into the lungs. And you taught me how to breathe into that. When I would do certain methods, you say, breathe into your right lung now. And it's like, you could really feel that the air getting down into that lung. That's so critical for us, because me, when I had was at my worst was when I had gotten my oxygen tank. So I just wear the cannula, sit in a chair, chest beginning to cave in, shoulders rounded, watching TV and not moving, not being active, and declining rapidly, rapidly declining. And it was that, those factors all together just put me in a really bad situation. I had my breathing muscles had practically atrophied. So we had to stretch those back out so that I could take full diaphragmatic breaths again. And, you taught me a lot about how to do that and increase that flexibility there. So what else? Let's see on my question list. Well,
oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I just want to say this really quickly. The other part, not only needing fancy equipment, you can get an equal or better workout right in the privacy and the ease of your own home. And that's what I've noticed, because so many people are dependent on the weather or the distance, or they're in a rural area where they don't have access. So I work with people all over the world. I start early in the morning in England and Wales, and then I work my way west. I do the whole United States, and I end on the West Coast in California. Now I have people wanting to work with me in Japan and Australia, so that the time zones are a challenge. But
that's awesome.
We can do it all right there. And I love it because I can see the physical space. I can say to you, okay, we're going to do these exercises right over there on that wall. Then I want you to do this on that piece of furniture. I want you to do this, because what you do with me or anybody you're working with, plus what you do at home, is your total result. And if you're only going to a gym and using equipment and everything, and you can't replicate it at home, then what good is it? It's got to be simple. And the simpler it is, the more likelihood people will adhere to it and stick with it.
For the longest time, I carried a towel in my car, rolled up with an elastic band around it, because that was so useful that you taught me how to just roll up your towel and do this. The other thing that I did was, people looked at my exercise facility outside of my home in Florida. I said, "What's all these jugs for?" I said, "Well, a jug of water weighs 7.5 pounds, and get two of them, you got two nice dumbbells. If you wanted to go heavier for like some lower back work," I said, "I've got two jugs filled with sand. That weighs 17 pounds, so there's no excuse. You don't have to go out and buy fancy equipment, like you said. That's a very important point. And you don't have to go to a gym. There's a lot more comfort in doing it from inside your own home. I think that's the beauty of
weather, fuel costs to get there, parking, walking into some place, and then don't forget, we're going into cold and flu season, so risk of exposure of getting sick. We don't want any of that. So this solves that.
So strength training, aerobic training, stretching. What type of exercises are the primary ones you recommend for patients?
I would say, because everybody's different, I would tell everybody to start with, if you just go to the YouTube channel, it's either youtube.com/pulmonary rehab, or just go in the YouTube search bar and just type in Junga Health, this right here. And we have so many exercises, a lot of education videos, but also a lot of exercises, from very beginner ones that, if you are up to doing them standing, great. Then we're going to work on your lower body, because walking is your main mode of transportation. We have to work on that. So we start with that. If walking is challenging, then you sit. You can get a towel roll, which Lee talked about over there. I have one. Let me grab it quickly. You can get a towel, and if you don't know how to make one, just go to the YouTube channel, and we have a video called How to Make Your Towel Roll. And you just fold it up, and here it is. You can put this between your knees, and you can squeeze this, working on having proper posture. You will get a quad workout. Your thighs will wake up. You do 3 sets of 20 of that, and you watch how quickly you could do it, and you're not going to be that winded at all if you're breathing properly. So normally you'd have to climb stairs, you'd have to do squats, you'd have to do something. You won't have to do it with that. So it's good.
That's beautiful. Those exercises, I noticed, gave me better balance. The exercises you taught me gave me better, what they call proprioception of my feet, being able to feel better going up and down stairs. When I did step down, I felt stronger with the right alignment. When I'm walking downstairs, I make sure I'm walking with the proper foot alignment. So there's those things, especially as we get older. And lots of folks in the pulmonary fibrosis world, lung disease world, we're older folks. I'm 67, and most of the people I know, I'm a young spring chicken compared to them. So we want to guard against that those falls that break a hip or break a bone, which are very difficult to heal from, and we lose so much when we're on bed rest. So, what are a couple, David? What are a couple of success stories that you've seen? Anything that's really remarkable of folks who something that people can envision as what's maybe possible for them?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, look at you. I mean, you're a living, breathing testament of you've taken exercise, motion, mobility, and you've made it a part of your everyday life. And you do everything from, I remember you doing some Qigong stuff, you were doing some Tai Chi, you were doing this, you were doing everything. And you mix and match whatever is comfortable for you. And that's what I tell people all the time. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to do it. You can just, whatever it is, you have to just overcome your allergy to motion. Because that's what it is. So many people they're allergic to
I love
movement.
that.
So they have to overcome that. And then once
I'm allergic to exercise.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. And so, but there's been a bunch, and I've made such wonderful acquaintances and friendships with these people. I mean, with you and Bruce. I mean, we both know Frank. Frank had a double lung transplant not too long ago, and he went from being same situation.
It's an amazing story. Frank qualified for a lung transplant, a double lung transplant, because of the therapy he had done with you. You had worked with him and he had gotten stronger and stronger. And so he was an automatic qualification for a lung transplant. And then after the transplant, he was up and about and doing very, very well so rapidly. The doctors were amazed at that. And you and I met. I should give a shout out to Bruce Anderson, who is the founder of an organization I run today that Bruce asked me to take over, which is a nonprofit, is non-revenue, so it's not even there's nothing to profit from. We don't charge any money, but it's an organization of support groups for people with lung disease, primarily, but mostly pulmonary fibrosis patients. But Bruce founded that organization, and Bruce is in his 80s, and he's been diagnosed 12 plus years with lung disease, pulmonary fibrosis, and he worked with you religiously for a number of years, and you've helped him to stay strong and healthy and active and be able to run an organization and build this organization of over about 100 people we serve today in these weekly Zoom support groups run by volunteer leaders like me. And but Bruce asked me to take it over because he was at the point of in his age that he said he's tired of running an organization, so he asked me to do it, and I've done that. But he introduced us, so he's another great testimony. Bruce and Frank, great testimonies to the great work you've done.
And I love Bruce. Bruce is a dear friend. I just talked to him yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I love.
I did an interview with Bruce, and it'll be posting on YouTube as soon as we finish editing. It'll be on YouTube, and so it's going to be Bruce answering a lot of questions about how we started this organization and his journey through lung disease when pulmonary fibrosis support groups didn't exist. And he started these weekly face-to-face groups where we could share our strength, hope, and experience it with each other. Let's see. Well, David, tell us about what you've got a business there or a medical facility there where you can work with people one-on-one physically there. But most of your work and the work that I've really enjoyed is it's remote. But tell us about the services that you offer, how you do it. I know you wrote a book a little while back a book that goes along with your program.
We have I'll tell you about this in a second. So we do basically, unfortunately, ever since COVID, I ended up closing. I had an office for the last 20 years, but I ended up closing it because of COVID, and we were, paying rent for 9 months and nobody could come in. So I ended up checking on people and just wanted to, I'm very protective over all our patients, and I wanted to check on them. And pretty soon I said, well, while I'm watching you, why don't you do a couple exercises? And then it kind of morphed into, well, wait, we could do telehealth all the time. And that's what we did. And so now we're only doing remote. So it's wonderful. Everything is on Zoom, but we do pulmonary rehab. We do lung cancer rehab. We do diaphragm rehab, which is something that we specialize in for a while now, but it's starting to come up. and then also the posture therapy. And the diaphragm rehab has been really good because there's more and more cases of this that people are getting properly. Same thing with pulmonary fibrosis. The diagnosis is finally coming to the forefront, where back in the day, anybody had a breathing problem. Oh, well, did you ever smoke? Oh, well, you have COPD. Well, now they're getting deeper and deeper into, okay, well, maybe you have pulmonary fibrosis. Maybe you have alpha 1. Now they're looking, wait a minute, maybe you have some sort of paralyzed diaphragm. And so as people's conditions changed, our program changed, and we started working on specific programs for all of that. And then also, like I said, the posture therapy, which is either for someone with chronic pain or someone who wants to improve their strength and their mobility and their balance.
That's
So we're
good.
doing it all. And we offer different levels of, because again, everything is, we're private pay. We've been a private pay model since 2010. Prior to that, we took all the insurances and Medicare and all that, and then we went private pay when Medicare reduced the reimbursement by 76%. And they also put a lifetime limit on the number of visits. We said, no, we can't do it. People have chronic conditions. You can't limit them. So we went to a private pay model. It's affordable. And we went from a private pay model working, you could either work one-on-one with me if I have room in my schedule. Then the next one is, we have this, you buy the book. It's a comprehensive online pulmonary rehab course. It's self-paced. You get the workbook on Amazon. It's 157 full color pages. It's $15. Won't break the bank. And then the course is $97. What I'm going to do is I will talk to my team. I'll have them make a coupon code, like maybe Fogel 20 or something. And that way, anybody who listens to the podcast, they get 25% off. I'll make it like that. And then anybody who does that, then they can get that. And that's normally 97, but then they can get a discount on that. And then we also have a zero cost option, which is the YouTube channel. And there's tons of information on there. We just finished shooting a new version of the right way to take your inhaler and whether you need a spacer and how to use a spacer. You and I chatted briefly about the incentive spirometer video that I did. That there it is. And people,
Look, I thought I'd tried every device, and I'd seen this one before. They use them in hospitals. A lot of time people are recovering from surgeries where their diaphragm maybe has a problem, and they need to watch for make sure they're getting proper lung expansion. And I saw a video from you. I thought I knew everything, but I'd never seen this when we were working together. And I saw you do a video showing how to use this device, and I love this. I use it twice a day. I use the breather before I do that to really strengthen the diaphragm. And I blow this thing through the top. When I first started, I could barely get it all the way up. I'm going to have to buy the 6,000 milliliter version next because it's not enough for me. But I owe that to you. You did a quick video says, here's how you use the incentive spirometer. Boom, changed my life again. So thank you for that. And that was free. You post great free videos. So in our show notes or in our description down below, people will see. I'm going to have all the links to all of your things, David, so people can go right out there and send me all those links, and we'll make sure we post them there so you can link directly to David. And the other thing too is naturally I want to say, make sure you like and subscribe to this video. That way those two things will hit the algorithm for YouTube, and you'll get more videos like this from me and David with lots of this good free information. Also, put your comments. Don't hesitate to make a comment if you like the information, or if you have a question. I answer lots of inquiries from people all over the world. David's now working around the world. I've got friends in my groups from many, many countries of the world. India, France, Spain, Montreal, that's not really that far away, England, Ireland, all over. And these all came from questions people ask me on YouTube, and we connect them into our groups. So please pay attention to that part of this broadcast. The thing that Dave, one thing I thought about the other day is when I was thinking of interviewing David is that David's very, in fact, I sent him a new person recently because she could not figure out how to use her pulse oximeter very well while she was exercising. And I remember David did that with me. He said, don't hold it like that. You're not going to get a good reading. Hold it this way, Lee, level arm. So I told this lady, I said, you need to go to David Junga and let him help you use your pulse oximeter while you're doing some work with your exercise and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a backdoor method to get her in working with you to exercise, because I think you can help her. But I think that one of the things I've seen is pulmonary rehabilitation, like you do, as a result of being comfortable with, you are religious about checking numbers, Lee. What's your heart rate? And you record all that information. That's terrific. And it gives a patient more confidence to be able to exercise and be comfortable. They know how they feel. They know what the numbers are. And it allows us to push ourselves, because if you just lift the same soup can or the same 2-pound weight and don't push yourself, you're not going to get much stronger. So we got to push ourselves. And that's what your pulmonary rehabilitation did for me, is that it helped increase my confidence level in working out and actually exercising, not, giving, lip service to exercise. It's also important that somebody comes to you twice a week or 3 times a week, the other days are not off days. You still do the exercises every day. I work out every day of the week. Walk my 12 to 14,000 steps every day of the week. There's no days off for us. Once you've got lung disease or you've had some infirmity like that, then you got to keep after it, or don't let it come back. You'll lose your gains fast. David, are there any closing thoughts here? I don't mean to take over your interview, but I'm excited
so important
about what you've done, and that's why. But are there some closing thoughts and comments for our listeners?
Yeah, I just want to just reiterate what you just said. I mean, the more time that you're either going to spend your time being sick, or you're going to spend your time getting healthy. It's up to you. I mean, that's what I only work one-on-one with patients, so that has a big impact on it, because what I try to do is I check people's numbers so much throughout their sessions that when they get to a point, I say to them, don't look. Based on how you feel, what do you think your numbers are? And I can get them in tune so much to their body with the pulse ox that they can know, okay, I know how it is, because that level of awareness has a big impact on their improvement. And that's what we try to do. Again, that's why I'm a big believer in just one-on-one therapy for pulmonary rehab and for the posture therapy. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to contact me, get in touch with me, you can go to the website. It's Junga Health right here, jungahealth.com. You can schedule a free evaluation. I put it up there. If anyone has any free consultation, excuse me, if anyone has any questions, concerns, anything, they don't know where to go, they don't want to do. The best patients are the ones that have this, like you, a desire to get better. Give me a roadmap. In your case, it was, well, give me some off-roads. I have a solid foundation. Give me something new. A lot of the people don't even have that. They just have this desire to get better, and they're so upset and frustrated. They want to get better. They just don't know what to do. And what we do is provide a roadmap for them. That's what the self-paced course does. That's what working with me does. So you could go to the website, jungahealth.com. We also have a private Facebook group, Junga Health. It's pulmonary and posture. You can go there. And again, you can just go right to the YouTube channel. There's so much. There's a video, the right way to wear your pulse ox. There's another one was, because I get all these questions and I immediately put it down and put it in the list and we make a video. Another one was, the right way to wear your oxygen in the shower, because a lot of people didn't know that they could take the cannula in the shower. So we did a video on that.
But you're not in the shower.
In the thumbnail, I am.
Okay.
If you go to YouTube and see the picture, there I am with a shower cap on in the shower.
That's terrific. That's terrific. I love that.
So it's wonderful. And I welcome anybody. Anybody, if you're a friend of Lee's, you're a friend of mine, come in and see me. Let me know what I could do to help you. And you can even email me, david@jungahealth.com.
And that's Junga, Junga, health.com. And I didn't get to it today. We were going to do a little demonstration of an exercise, but that's going to be that's going to be an incentive for you to contact David. And if you have a cough, and folks, it's called the IPF cough, and a lot of us have a cough that is just a persistent neurogenic cough, and it's posturally related. I found mine was 90% posture related, my cough. And David has got it's not a, it's a simple exercise that he will show you early on in working with him that will alleviate that cough. It'll stop it in its tracks. Of course, the shoulders down and back and relaxed, those sorts of things are going to help you. But this is a simple exercise David will show you that will change that cough for you. It'll give you control over that cough. And so it opens up the chest. So David, it's been a great pleasure to talk to you today. It brings back fond memories of about a year ago. This time we were hitting it hard in the gym, and you did. I'm an example of your good work. I don't know. I mean, I'm still older, and yeah. But it's been a gret pleasure to see you today. Thanks so much for spending time with us and for all the good you're doing for people. And you do a lot of good, free good to goodwill out there with your business. It's amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having this forum. I mean, this is so needed. I'm so excited because you're going to be able to really help so many people. So, I consider you a colleague when it comes to all this stuff. So keep doing what you're doing. It's exciting. It's needed. I think you give hope. And that's what the biggest thing that pulmonary patients need is hope. And you give them that. And you lead by example, which is wonderful. So let's keep doing it. Anything that you need, I'm always here for you. And anybody out there who's watching, get in touch with me if you need anything.